Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Gooners podcast. This is the review for the Chelsea game and the game week. What's this game week? 10?
Nine.
Nine. Game week 9. So we will talk about the Chelsea game first, and then, as usual, we'll also talk about other teams, other games that happened in the Premier League, as usual, for this season that we have been doing. Before that, yes, please do like, share, subscribe, and continue supporting us. We have hit the 300 mark, and hopefully we will keep marching forward. Thanks for all your support, and hope and you can, if you want to be part of this podcast, you could reach out to us as usual, and we would like to have you on here to talk about Arsenal and other things. Um, so with that out of the way, let's get this started. First, let me ask this question with Arvind first. Oh, I didn't introduce the guest first. So we have Arvind with us. Hi, Arvind.
Hello.
And Arun. Hi, Arun.
So,
So, jumping to the question, Arvind. This game, we rescued a point, but it didn't feel to me like, it was like, last season when we rescued a point, or when we had these last minute turn off events and we end the game on a high, we always felt that sense of like, oh God, this is great. But this even though we rescued a point, we kind of like came back from 2 goals down. We scored 2 goals in Stamford Bridge. We did not get that feeling. I did not get that feeling. How do you feel about this game?
I mean, I share your disappointment in not getting all 3 points, but a point earned is a point earned. I'm never going to give that back. And the way we came back to earn that point away from home, I thought that was really good. The team, for however poorly they played for the 2/3, more than 2/3 of the game, 3/4 of the game, I should say. The last quarter of the game, we showed up. We did everything we should. We could have gotten more. If we got more, it would have been totally undeserving, but it would have still been 3 points nevertheless. But I'll take one.
Arun, the game was like Arun was saying, right? Like it was not our game. It was not like, and it is concerning because even before this, when we were talking about the preview, right? We were raising the concern about like coming back uh, from international break has always been our downfall. Like at least for the last couple of seasons, I feel that like coming back from international break kind of puts a break in how we play. I'm not saying like we played really well before that.
after
Yeah.
that as well. Yeah.
Do you feel that this game is because of that, or do you feel that it's no, it's a disappointing game in a season when we are not clicking?
You know what? I know international breaks are a thing, and I know the manager is talking about like players being able to play, like 3 games in a week's period, and like being able to play 80, 65 plus games in a season. That would be inclusive of the international games as well. So, like, if the international games are indeed a problem, then that's something that we should be fixing either in terms of the kind of people, the type of people that we play in that game, or like, with a bit of change in the tactics. I don't think there'll be like major changes in the tactics because you don't want to change the way you play. That's something that the entire team is used to. So for me, yeah, it was. I don't know if it correlates, but you're right. We always have this trouble coming back from international breaks, and that's something that we cannot afford to be doing when there's a season where we are trying to win the title, and the rest of the people around us don't seem to be having this problem. So whether it's because of the number of people going there for the break and coming back, or it's like fatigue that's been carried over from past season to this season over a period of games. I'm not certain about that part, but like that's definitely something that needs to be fixed as soon as possible. And regarding the game, like initially, end of first half, I had a lot of hope that we are going to be coming back into this game somehow, and we will still be able to win it. But when they scored that second goal, and they scored the second goal, I think in 50 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes, I
Mhm.
think between. Yeah,
Less than 50 minutes,
Or
I think.
48,
48
I think.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 48. uh Having seen that and the way in which we were playing at that point, I thought this game was done. So for me, like from losing 3 points to gaining a point towards the end, I'm not going to justify the performance, but like Arvind said, like at the end of the day, it's a point on the table. Like, 1 point is always better than zero. So that's how I want to take it. In fact, like I was a little disappointed towards the end because after we scored the second goal, the momentum was in our favor, and that's where I thought we could have definitely, like, sneaked a win, because Chelsea's inexperience definitely showed at that point when they were playing. I think they had like one foray into our area, but then like we just kept pushing the ball up. All these metrics that we Arsenal fans like talking about, like field tilt and touches in the opposition box and all of that, was like for 70 minutes there was nothing existing. Look, we had like 65% field tilt that I saw on a graphic, and I was just like laughing to myself because that 65% was worth nothing during the
Yeah,
game.
that stat is worth nothing.
Yeah,
See,
that started the
the
game
thing
nothing.
is,
So, and
okay, I will ask this question, right? Like I was saving this for later, but like I will ask this right now because even during halftime, right? Like there was a person I was watching in the pub, and the person next to me said, like, for all this eye test that is saying we are playing very badly, the numbers don't seem to follow that. Like we had higher possession, we had a lot more passing percentage and stuff. So for me, that's where the thing is, right? Like, and we keep saying about this season, especially when I keep bringing up, oh, the eye test doesn't like do justice to our team. We don't seem like the team from last year. We are not playing attacking football. We're not playing like we are not creating chances and all those things. People keep backing it up with like, okay, we are the best team in the world right now, out of possession. We are this, we are that, and all those things. But this season, for me, that has been the problem, and this game kind of typified that. Like our attacking intent when we had a like when we had our first choice front three is not great.
it was garbage. Like, it's like not great is like you're just like praising it, in my opinion. The way in which the game was played for the entirety of the first half was absolute garbage. Like there was not one player who was playing well. So that's like, I don't know if it's a blame on the manager or the players. I was just happy that Eddie and Havertz were not starting, because all of the attention would be on them. All of the fans would have been like, "Oh, it's because of Eddie and Havertz starting that we are being playing this bad." But no, they weren't starting, and we were still really bad. So yeah, you're right. There is some sort of a problem, something that we are trying to implement, uh, and it doesn't seem to be working at this moment. The 65% possession that that you were talking about essentially led to nothing, because all of first half we had, like, that's another stat that we Arsenal fans love talking about: touches in the opposition box. Chelsea, for all that they did, the first entirety of first half, they had 12. We had three in the first half. So,
Yep.
I don't know, like, if it's lack of ideas, or we underestimated the opposition in terms of how we went into the game, or they wanted it more than us. They had the momentum. I don't know if those could be given as reasons, because you need to gain momentum at some point in the season. Though
Mm-hmm.
it's positive that the way in which we played, in spite of the way in which we played, we got 1 point at a difficult ground away from home. It's still a game that we should have gone and gotten 3 points. Like, when you compare it with the other teams around us, there are teams that are actually, getting points as well, and are like close to us, and they're having like easier fixtures and better experience than us. So this is definitely, for me at least, it's a little point of concern. But like, I wanted to give, like, I think I told you before as well, I wanted to give like until November, December, to see how the team performs. Like, it's going to take its time to for the new tactic to get implemented. So I want to take until November, December to see what's going on. But my only worry is that it might be too late. That's my only worry, because we are getting these points where we should be dropping them. But how long can we keep doing it? That's my thing.
So, Arvind, before you counteract, Arun's opinion, I want to add something to it, right? Like the thing is, the thing is, yes, we have gained points at Manchester, right? Like we have won against Manchester. We have gotten point at like North London Derby. We have now gotten point at like Stamford Bridge. We are unbeaten and all those things. And we keep saying last season that like last season or even like end of last season and even now we said like, oh, it's difficult when teams are sitting back, but not all teams are doing that, right? Like Chelsea in this game didn't sit back. Like tactically, if you're speaking, they just
They
ran at
basically
us.
did to us what we did to City.
Yeah, they
That's
just
how I
ran at
felt
us.
during
They
the game.
just ran and ran. That's all they did. They did not sit back and absorb pressure. They gave us the possession, but they did not sit back. They did not have a backline that was deep. Um, but still, we were out of ideas, is what I would say. We were out of ideas in the creative front. Is that what you feel?
I wouldn't call it out of ideas as much as I would say it was just discombobulated. Everybody were having a bad game at the same time. It would look out of creativity or out of ideas when we all have a bad game at the same point. But I don't. You can't score two goals without having ideas. Like you have to have some ounce of creativity, some ounce of game plan if you're going to come back 2-0 down from the 75th minute or 72nd minute.
I mean, no, but Chelsea scored two goals too, and there was nothing they created. There was no like there was not like a clear attacking. Like, can Chelsea create these two goals in another game? No, they cannot. This was all. Both the goals were free. We will talk about the goals later, but I'm just saying like out of ideas in the sense like whether we would be able to recreate these kind of goals, whether we would be able to recreate this chance creation. That was my concern. In all the season, I feel that we don't have that, where, okay, this portion of play, we could recreate it in another game when need be.
So, like, you're talking both sides here. You're saying Chelsea did not sit back; they were attacking. They came out at us. Then the next statement you say Chelsea did not create as much. So what were Chelsea effectively doing? They were just running around. Not
Yeah.
true. No, not true. Not true. They
No, they
cut out.
weren't creating as many chances. They were like
They
keeping us quiet. That was the most important thing that they did. Their
they
game
weren't
plan was very simple. So
they weren't creating as many chances. I agree with you on that. That was not just because Chelsea are a bad team. That was because our defensive stability was quite good, even though we
Yeah,
had
I'm
a
not I'm
very.
not complaining about our defensive stability. I am
I'm not going there
accepting
either.
I'm accepting that we are the best team in the world right now out of possession. We are the best team to actually be defensively stable. My problems are offensive.
So here is where this is where I would call that out, right? Last year, when City won the treble, the last final third of the season, they couldn't care less about how they performed. All they wanted was 3 points. They kept going, 3 points after 3 points after 3 points. At this point, compared to our same uh, 9 game streak after last season, we are ahead by a point.
Yeah.
So you want brilliant football, you want points. I get that. In an ideal world, we get all of that. But we don't live in an ideal world. If you ask me, I will always 100 out of 100 times live with where we are today after 9 games, at the cost of free flowing, fluid football that just looks very pleasing to the eye. Devil may care about how we play. I just want the points.
Okay, so let me get back to the start of the game, right? Because we have a lot more to talk about this game, especially about starting 11. Arvind, I'll stick with you.
Okay.
Starting of Jorginho, that was a surprise for me. Although Ellen in our preview part said that's going to happen. For me, that was a surprise, especially because Partey seems to be fit, and we had like there was no inclination of Jorginho starting from anywhere else. That was a surprise. And the second surprise for me was Saka playing this game because I still want him to be managed properly. And this game kind of I mean, he did give the assist for the goal, and that's
At the
brilliant.
82nd minute, he completed 90 minutes wearing the armband.
Yeah.
A
So
half-fit player can't do that.
I'm not saying he's half fit, but the thing is, like, we are pushing him to a territory where we don't need to push him, is what my problem
Why
was.
not?
Well, I don't want him to go through the same thing that a Jack Wilshere or a Diaby did.
but he's not. He's fit, and injuries can happen to anybody. Like you at any point he can get injured. He can be protected in glass wool, but when he plays 2 minutes, he can still get injured. You cannot stop that. But when he's fit and he's ready to play 90 minutes, at that point, if you want to call like bench him and call it load management, that is bullshit. He's not going to become the world beater that he can become with his talent by being protected and coddled like that. Great players did not get that, did not do that, they will never want to do that, and I don't expect Saka to be benched because of a fictional reason that he needs to be protected right off the bat. Number two, I think Jorginho selection, it's been kind of a pattern for away games. Jorginho has always started away from home. He's given us a little more defensive stability away from home. Party is extravagant. He's really good at breaking the lines, playing between the lines, all of that. But that is also high risk, high reward. We saw against Manchester United last year where he tried to play that high risk football. Rashford scored his annual goal against Arsenal.
No,
This was the game
it's more
that was
like
tailor
for
made for Jorginho.
sorry to cut you, but the thing is like for me the more question is on Partey rather than Jorginho starting. Right? Like for
Mhm.
me, Partey missing out is the bigger question because this season, like we said, we have played two Manchester teams, we have played a North London derby, we have played Chelsea now. That's like all like it's we still have like only Liverpool left of our.
Party was only fit for one of those.
Yeah, but so that's the problem. He's only fit. He has only played 15 minutes of this all fixtures. That is a concern, right? Like he is one of our best players and he is not available is the problem for me.
That is definitely a concern. I'd like Party to be fit fully year after year, season after season. Uh, for whatever reason, he is not able to do that. We have an ideal backup in making sure that it's not a problem. But if he's not there, he's not there. We just have to use the next best thing.
Mm. I don't. Um, Raya starting ahead of Ramsdale. First, initially, I thought like, oh, Ramsdale is dropped and he's not in bench, and it was panicking. And then people came to me and told me that, oh, Ramsdale is. I mean, congratulations to him first for becoming a father to the baby boy. Absolutely great news to hear. But this game, Raya has done like I think he is putting himself out of the selection for in my mind. He's putting himself out of being selected as the number one in my mind, especially after the mistakes that's happening. Right? Like I'm not saying, oh, he needs to be dropped, he needs to be sent out of the club, he needs to be frozen, nothing like that. But the difference between Ramsdale and Raya was very little to start with. And I think with the mistakes, he is kind of like putting himself out of that like small difference that he has. Do you feel that, especially since like in City game we were talking about how that mistake that what's his name? He side nets it. The mistake from
Alvarez.
right
Foden,
Alvarez
Foden was
side
there.
nets it.
Alvarez
Foden,
signed. Alvarez.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He chases, he presses him, and then he steals the ball and he side nets it.
That was Foden. Okay.
and
Yeah.
and then
Fair, go
this
ahead.
and then this game, I'm not complaining about the goal that he conceded. I mean, I will, but before that, like giving away the ball to Cole Palmer kind of set the mood. Like
No,
Zinchenko made the error.
you know what? I'll tell you straight up. Or maybe I'm just a fan who knows nothing about football, and there's like something that the manager is cooking behind the scenes that we're not able to see. But so far, though the stats say otherwise, I have really not seen anything from Raya that has really made me feel better about our goalkeeper. It feels the same way as it was with Ramsdale. I really don't see any difference. Like it's not like you're going from Ramsdale to an Allison, like that's not the difference that I'm seeing. And uh, it was definitely wrong on my part to expect something of that sort from Raya. Let's leave that outside. But I really do not see any upgrade from Ramsdale to like even the level of another better goalkeeper. I really don't see anything. For me, like the calmness that people were talking about after his first game, it was only present probably in the first game. I've never felt that he's bringing a calming presence or anything. And like the way in which he conceded that goal from Mudrik was like, whatever you call it, fluke, he wasn't going for the goal, whatever you call it, like he shouldn't be letting those balls in. I that's what I'm saying. Like for doing this, we might have as well had a Ramsdale, a player with a higher potential, younger age, and like we are stopping the growth of another player without anything. I know there's no like animosity between the goalkeepers. We saw that video that came out where Ramsdale was joking like, "Oh, hold on, I'm now here," and then he joins like Raya and Hayne. All that's fine. All that's all good. But what I was expecting from Raya was game changing, and for me, I really don't see anything. I mean, like I said, the metrics could be anything different, but for me, I really don't see there has been like a marked difference in the way in which we play because of Raya coming in. And again, like the defense is doing a fantastic job. If you really think about it, the only like nervousness that we get during the games is not from our defenders, of course, barring Zinchenko, not from our defenders, but mainly from Raya. That's what I feel. And I feel again this season Zinchenko is going to get exposed a lot because we do not have Xhaka, and that's going to be a big problem as well. So yeah, I mean, like I don't see any difference with Raya. I really don't understand.
Arun, this is not a Raya versus Ramsdale debate, but like for me, the thing is like Arun said, right? Like, what is the quality? Like, especially since the fan in me who wanted Chesney to have his prime at Arsenal, but he did not have his prime. He did go toe to toe on Petr Cech for one of those seasons when both of them finished with like Golden Glove and stuff. And the next couple of seasons back after that, we have Petr Cech who's pushing Chesney out, and like all those situations happen. I don't want another goalkeeper of ours to go somewhere else to have their potential realized. And I feel Ramsdale is one of those goalkeeper who has a higher potential than Raya.
This is the Ramsdale that saw a bird and let a goal against Southampton you're talking about?
No, true. Like that's the thing. That's again, and that's what I would say. Like he saw a bird and let a goal in. Doesn't give Raya to do something stupid there, right?
So that then calls into question every signing that we could potentially make from Brentford. Tony signing next, everybody wants. Is he going to be the missing piece of Arsenal striking that we all think he's going to be?
No, the question is like, is he bringing in something that the team doesn't have? Right? Like, if
He
Tony is not
definitely.
bringing something that the team doesn't have, then yes, that signing needs to be questioned. But
There are
that's the same question, right? Like Raya, is he bringing something that Ramsdale doesn't have?
there are two things: what you bring and how you play.
Okay.
What you bring, you could bring whatever. I don't care. You could bring the talent of Michael Phelps in a football field. Doesn't matter. How he plays on that day is what matters.
Okay.
And for that, you're going to need to give an extended run of games. If he makes mistakes after mistakes, then he's not cut out for us. Great. What opinion you formed right now?
But like, how can, like, this is the Premier League, right? We cannot be like experimenting with like, okay, play, we will see how your potential is.
That's a very long.
Unless you prove that you have something, like you offer more than the other person, and still you are making mistakes, and then yes.
Your argument works if you're costed with points. Your argument does not work when we are not paying with points.
We are paying with points.
We are paying with points. We could have gotten 3 points from this game.
So you're saying if not for that goal that Raya conceded in minute 48, 52 minutes before full time, we could have outplayed Chelsea and won 2-1.
The two goals that we scored in 20 minutes. I'm not blaming Raya, but for me, like he doesn't make any difference from what Ramsdale was giving us. That's my main thing. Like I don't.
Anybody can have a bad day on a given day. Okay, if you want to judge Raya based on his body of work, which is all of 4.5 games for Arsenal so far, great, by all means. The same fan base that was quick to write off Xhaka based on 4.5 seasons of 4.5 seasons of mistakes that he had done in the CDM role, only to give Xhaka a gloryful send off and say, "Oh, Xhaka, I miss you so much," and calling Xhaka that he's speaking after 30. We've been reactionary before, and we've seen how that has worked out for us. I would just urge patience, especially at a time when we are third on the table and we are 2 points away from top of the table, going at an invincible rate so far.
Yeah. So that is something that I think our viewers should be able to comment on. For me, like I said, Ramsdale versus Raya is not a debate. It's a debate of which which player is bringing what to the team, and not just now, in future. I am not ready to sacrifice the team for a player to just see the potential. I just want the team to grow better. I just want the team to perform better. Uh, just let us know in the comments about who do you
Oh,
think
and a
about.
last thing before we move on, like at Brentford, did you both think that Raya was good?
I never watched Brentford that much to make an opinion.
So
Raya
then
was
you
good, but like for me, like I don't know, even from his Brentford days, like if you're going to go for an upgrade, it should be like a genuine upgrade.
so
If you're
okay,
going to go
let
for
me
a keeper
phrase my
because
question.
he's yeah,
Let me phrase my question like this. When you saw Raya play for Brentford, did you think he was an upgrade to Ramsdale?
I don't think
If
I did.
we bought him,
I don't think I did. No, that's the
so
thing. I
then
don't think I did.
you've been
Because
against that.
Ramsdale, in terms of the saves that he made last season, he was unbelievable. I know he had his lapses of concentration, but in terms of the many games, like we were able to keep that 2-2 draw at Anfield because of Ramsdale.
That's
So for
all that
me,
is
like
fine. No, this is my question is different. So when we announced Ramsdale signing, were you for or against that signing?
Ramsdale signing, I was
No, I'm sorry,
no,
Raya signing. When we
I was
announced
not
Raya,
against it. I was not against it. I just wanted to see like if I'd missed something again. I'm a fan sitting and watching on TV, so probably the
exactly,
manager saw
E-
something else. But the
exactly.
way
Manager
where you are
saw
getting
some.
it, yeah, where
No,
you
no,
are
no,
getting is we are not to question the manager, like even if you're not able. That's the
no,
that you're getting.
no. I'm not getting at that. I'm not trying to vindicate the manager in you. I'm trying to vindicate the player. The club has done extensive research and signed a player who, based on data, he came here.
We have
And
also
that
signed a lot of duds in the past. So let's not put like, oh, if the club signs it, they're going to be good. Because
We
and
were
and
we have seen like
let me
Sven is
finish.
sending.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Club has signed based on data. That data shows that Raya has done something good, and Raya has the potential to get better. We've signed duds, and that data has not worked out in the past. All that is fine. I take your argument. Case in point, Nuno Tavares. But give him more than 5 games. He's only had 5 games that he's pulled an Arsenal shirt for, and
But the
he's
thing,
had a bad game against City. He's had a bad game against Chelsea. Out of 5 games, I would only call 2 bad games. That is still in my eyes he's grading better than most. So I would urge giving him time.
okay. So for me, no, because the thing is, I'm not an Arsenal fan because I want players to grow in my club. I'm an Arsenal fan because I want Arsenal to win. And if he is costing
We are
points or if he is going to be not the best option there is, then I will question it. And that's where I come from. But
fair. That is very
I
fair.
get your point. I get your point. And we are not going to be writing off any players. We are still going to be supporting the player. Whoever's on the pitch, they are still Arsenal player. They are still Arsenal wearing Arsenal colors. We are going to be behind them, supporting during the game. But of course, when they put a stinker like that, we will question them. We'll question their talent. We'll question
Question them.
everything, right? Like so,
Hold them accountable.
that's where we are coming from. We will move on, and before that, like as I was mentioning before, for all the viewers, please do comment in like your thoughts on this Raya situation. I'm not putting it as Raya versus Ramsdale, but like Raya situation, whether he should continue being our number one or whether we should be taking the approach of like giving him a space or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like
I'll just
so.
finish with my opinion on that. I don't think, based on what I've seen of Raya, I don't think he's done anything to justify him taking the number one spot. That's my opinion on this.
Great. So continuing the discussion, I know we have talked about this a lot, like refereeing decisions. I don't want to spend a lot of time on here, but just want to ask like a couple of questions and like keep it as simple as possible, as short as possible, right? Aaron, I'll ask you these things. First thing, should Cole Palmer have gotten a red?
Uh,
Red, yes.
in an ideal world, yes, but it doesn't happen in the Premier League that way. So I think the yellow. I would be happy. I would be happy if all such tackles in the future are just like given a yellow. I mean, like I don't.
Consistency is what we have been saying, but that's not
That's
possible.
my only concern. Like, yeah, if you feel that that was a yellow, then every other tackle, even if let's say Zinchenko goes and jumps on someone's feet tomorrow, that should also be a yellow. That shouldn't be a red. But that's not going to happen, and we are going to get a red. So I really Like I have nothing. I like Mourinho. I have nothing to say. I really have nothing to say. It's
I don't want
just
to get fined.
Arvind, on the
Yeah.
same topic, right? Like Kukureya should have gotten yellow earlier. Yes or no?
For the foul on Saka?
On Saka, on Jesus.
Oh, for the foul on Saka, yes, he should have gotten a yellow. That when this foul is the second half. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
definitely yellow. I mean, he
yeah,
had a
that was
good game.
definitely yeah.
He had a good game. Jesus won touch and go, but he had a good game. When Saka won was a definite yellow.
He had a good first half. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Fair.
He had a good first half until Saka woke up. But I think Kukureya had like 3 fouls, and then he was, I think, 3 or 4 instances, and then he was specifically on Saka, and then he was carded. But Saka for his second offense was carded right away. So again, I really don't understand the consistency. We can argue about referees being humans and all that shit, but they are being paid for a job. Like if you or I or Arvind go to work tomorrow and cost the company like a loss, they're not going to say like if I cause a problem, Arvind or you are not going to come and say like, oh, he's my friend, so let's not do anything about it. Let's just keep it quiet and like just move on. That's not going to happen. So the guys are getting paid for their job, and if they don't do the job, I really don't understand. I mean, like it's something that keeps happening, and I am just waiting for that one game week where we don't have anything about the referees to talk about, like probably even praising the referees for the good work that they did. I'm just waiting for that one game week.
That's not gonna happen. That's a dream. That's not gonna happen. But there are like 2 penalty decisions. One was given, one was not given. For me, both are wrong. First penalty decision for them, the jump and the handball. I think that was wrong because obviously for me the hand is not in a natural position. How do you expect to jump? The ball was already in its path, and the ball was redirected when the player was in the air. How was he supposed to like change directions? This is not Captain Subasa where you can in the middle of the air change directions and change into something else. That's not possible. So that for me was not a penalty, but I've seen it given, so I'm not complaining against it a lot.
That's the thing for me. Like it's 50% of the time it's given, 50% of the time it isn't. We saw like Romero did not have that handball decision. Like in the United game, they should have gotten a similar penalty. The funny part is a lot of Chelsea fans were asking for Saliba to get a red card and be removed from the game. So yeah, it was like hilarious watching that. So for me, I would say, again, the same thing. If you're going to give this as a penalty, the next time an Arsenal player something happens to Jesus and like there's a handball, give the penalty. Like
But
don't
that
flip it.
it
And
did
and for
have.
me, the worst thing was the amount of time that the game had passed before they stopped the game to give that decision. Again, it makes no sense to me. You are seeing week in week out such decisions not being given because it is going to stop the flow of play or whatever they call it, but then all of a sudden that was given yesterday. So I don't know if the rules are wrong or the people who are interpreting it as wrong or they are wrong, but there's something terribly wrong going on there. I mean, like the more I talk about it, the more I feel I'm like, oh my god, why am I even talking about this at this?
No, but think about it. The decision can only be given at the next dead ball spot. The ball hadn't gone
True. The
out in a
next
while.
dead ball. That's very true. But in the same situations, many times in this season as well, we have not like had such stops coming into play and the decisions being given. So I again for me, we should do the same thing that Liverpool did. Trust me, they are not going to get any decisions against them this season hereafter. The club has made sure of that. All the 50-50s will go in their favor. Blatant red cards will be given as yellow cards. This is what's going to happen. Great job by Liverpool. I wish Arsenal did the same.
Arun, but when Arun said that, right, like, oh, next instant we should get it. Actually, next instant happened in the game for me when Jesus was punched by the goalkeeper when the ball was nowhere near. And before that too, the goalkeeper was complaining about like players pushing him. In fact, it was his own player who was pushing him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Players are gonna complain for anything and everything. It doesn't really matter.
No,
But that
no. Before that, I will finish my rant. The worst thing was Cole Palmer was awarded the player of the match for that game when he
okay.
should have been red carded.
Oh, that's true. He should have been red carded. I don't. He had a good game, but he was not the player of the match. My player of the match was Declan Rice, and this has nothing to do with me being biased towards Arsenal.
No, for me it
I
was Conor Gallagher. He was the player of the match.
He caused the goal. Like the first Declan Rice goal, he was ball watching.
No, true. But like the way in which they did everything in the first half, he was the cornerstone for all of that happened properly for them in the first half. For like until that point where the goal happened, Conor Gallagher was probably the best player on the pitch, and then Rice was the second best player. So
Oh,
Yeah,
probably
also like
but after the goal, the full body of work, Rice stands better. Which
bef-
player of the match, not player for 60 minutes.
yeah.
before that, I also wanted to highlight like for the penalty, I think Sterling wanted to take it and Cole Palmer kind of pulled the ball out of his hand. It was funny to see
Yes,
it on the replay.
definitely was.
So the
There
go
were three or four people who were kind of with the ball. Cole
Mhm.
Palmer wanted it, Enzo Fernandez wanted it, Sterling wanted it, and then Cole Palmer took it from everybody.
So do you think that penalty decision for Jesus should have been given?
Yes, 100%. He
Okay.
had no intent to play. I mean, he had intent to play the ball, punch the ball, but he got a fistful of somebody else.
hmm
I don't know if that's not a penalty. I don't know what is.
And it was also like the I mean, I don't know. There was also another decision where it should have been I mean, Tomiyasu was fuming because it was a corner
Corner, yeah,
that was given as I don't know if
goal
the
kick.
I mean that the assistant referee was right there.
That assistant referee had a shit of a game. Like there was a point where Saka literally stopped. Like I can't play anymore. He's just pulling me and dragging me over. The referee's flag was by his side. Maybe he forgot that he has to raise the flag to call a foul. I don't know. He did not call. Like even Saka went and complained to that guy. You should be seeing this. You're right here. And no, he did not. I mean, we are going to be talking about refs over and over and over through the season, and it's like beating a dead snake. But at this point, I'm truly numb to everything rather than having an emotion towards it.
Yeah, for me, like I'm like literally numb to the things right now. I don't even feel like bad when the decision goes against us now. Like
So
that
get
initial reaction of like screaming, yeah. After that, I'm like, yeah, fuck it. These guys are gonna do the same thing again.
getting back to the game though, like there were changes made pretty early on in this game by Arteta, and I have to give him like kudos for this. Like this game, every change he made on like second game running, like City game, all the changes came together the same way. This game, all changes came together. My best change of this game was taking off Zinchenko and putting Tomiyasu in. For me, Tomiyasu right now is it's like one of those players who are like I could plug him anywhere. Like I could put him on the right back, I could put him on left back, I could put him on center defense. If for example there is a situation like what AC Milan happened and we needed a goalkeeper, I would put Tomiyasu on as the goalkeeper. That's how I am impressed by that guy. I've always been a fan, but this game he came in and just shut off Sterling, and that was great to watch. Arvind,
Uh,
about substitutions.
at this point, it's like I think you're also seeing both the manager and the team kind of growing together.
Mhm.
Uh, like, looking at it this way, it's almost like we are playing two games within one game. First 65 to 70 minutes is one game, and the
Yep.
last 25 to 20 minutes is another game. The
Mhm.
first 65 to 70 minutes, we want to create score, create score, create score. And the last 25 to 30 minutes, we want to defend, manage the game, defend, manage the game. And we have like two different, it's like NFL. You have an offense, you have a defense. We have a similar kind of a setup. And at the same time, if the first 65 minutes does not go according to plan, we also have an elite specialist squad that we can pull. And instead of having to manage the game, we can go on the offensive and try to snatch the game back. The whole reason why Leo Trossard was introduced around minute 70 and not earlier than that, look at how tired Malo Gusto was by
Yep.
the end of the game. Like that's when you can try to take advantage of his weakness, his loss of concentration. That's exactly what we did. It was like almost
But
somebody
he
split
saw,
his
like,
wrist.
when Saka got the ball, I can see Trossard raising his hand and asking where he wants the ball to be. And it was like
Exactly.
great move. Like, I mean, Saka, for all the stuff we say, oh, he's not been himself, he's had his injuries and stuff. He steps up. That ball was unplayable. That ball that came in from Saka was unplayable by any of the Chelsea defense. And the finish from Trossard, I was like, how could this man finish in such a manner game after game? It was outside of his right foot that he finishes that shot.
Yes, he's a good player. He finished an amazing goal from the inside of his left foot against Everton. Now the outside of his right foot. We've seen him score inside of his right foot too. So now we got to see another goal like Mudryk did. Uh, I don't know. Leo Trossard. Like, this game had everything, right? This game had Mudryk score on one end, Leo Trossard, who Arsenal got instead of Mudryk, score on the other end. This game had Moises Caicedo, who Arsenal went for in the first place but did not get him, but ended up getting Jorginho instead, who was also in this game. Both were equally shit. This game was kind of like the
But
perfect.
Caicedo did the job for his team. His job was to stay there and prevent any Arsenal foray into their third, and they that midfield made sure to take care of that. I don't
But
think he had any as bad
he
as a
goes
game.
home with 1 point.
True, but that doesn't mean that he played like shit. Declan Rice also came home with 1 point. Does that mean that he played like shit?
Not really, but there was not a lot of okay. He stopped plays that I can think of, or I can really. When I
No,
saw the
because we
game,
did that to ourselves. We stopped plays. Like all the time that we got the ball was sent out by either one of our midfielders or the goalkeeper.
when we had chances, he didn't do anything to thwart those chances. Like, for example, the long ball that Raya sent to Kai Havertz that ended up in the second goal for the second goal, he was right there. He could have won the ball. He didn't. Like, those are the things that I'm calling out.
Mm.
But coming back to the goal, Arun, the goal that changed the complexion for Arsenal was by Rice, and I think that was the longest, the goal from the longest distance that
36.7 yards. Yeah.
Arsenal player scored after 2009 or something like that.
So 6-7, I think. That's even like older than that.
Yeah, but what a player!
It's one of the
105
best
million.
scores I've seen. I'm like really surprised that no one's making a big deal out of it. Like the way in which the goal was scored, it deserves a lot more applause. And I'm really surprised that no one's making a big deal out of it. Like I really don't understand. Like it should be a goal of the season contender. The distance and the angle of the goal. Of course, the entire goal was there for him to shoot into, but we've seen people miss from 4 yards out.
Oh yeah.
So given that, like the way in which he scored the goal, the intelligence to know that he has to do that, and like the willingness to go and win the ball. Of course, Sanchez is a garbage keeper. Like that's one of the main reasons why I thought we'd win, because like their goalkeeper is really, really, really bad. And yeah, so it was like I was finally like, oh my god, like yeah, you guys know how to score. So finally, you guys scored, because like till that point, we were absolutely doing nothing. So yeah, it should be celebrated more. Maybe people like around December time will start thinking about how good this goal was. But yeah, it's only like all the talk about Mudrik's goal and how he meant it and all that. But like this
Oh,
is
he did not mean it. He did not mean it.
I don't know. I don't. That's a
I thought he did.
conversation that I like. We don't have to get into. But for me, like this guy meant it. He told the logic behind the goal, and yeah. So this has to be spoken more about. I don't understand why.
So I think that with that, I think we'll end this review for Chelsea. I don't think we have any more things to add. I mean, we have things to add, but I don't want to discuss on the other stuff around this game because other stuff we have been talking for quite some time. So that is our review for the Chelsea game. Please do, let us know on your thoughts. So moving on for the second part of our discussion, talking about PL and all the other games that happened in the PL. As usual, I'll start throwing games at you, each of you, and you can let me know your thoughts and like what happened during the game, if you watched it, or is there anything else that you need to talk about. First, I'll start with you, Arun. Like, did you watch the Everton versus Liverpool versus Everton game, the
It
Merseyside
was
derby?
really early in the morning for us at 7:30. I knew Liverpool were going to win like 4-0 or something, 4-1 or something. And then I turned the TV on and I saw like Young getting a red card and I closed the TV, went back to sleep. So I didn't see any point in watching the game after that. Like 11 man Everton is not going to be like Liverpool would thrash them and then they go down to 10 men. And with that defense that they have, like when I saw the end of the game, I was just surprised that it ended at 2-0. I believe Liverpool did like were not like their usual self, and Salah was not doing enough. That's what I heard. But like in the end,
Salah scored 2 goals.
he scored 2 goals and he got me the points that I needed. So I'm happy.
Arvind, I'll throw 2 games at you. Actually, 3 games at
Okay.
you.
Wow.
Brentford, Burnley.
Okay.
First, we'll start with that. Burnley had a red card. I mean, Burnley are going down for sure, right?
I think so. And Vincent Company may not last the season.
Hmm. Do you think he would be one of the first sacks?
I think the
No, we
Bournemouth
already had a
manager,
sack, right? We've already had a sack, isn't it? No.
who?
I think Iraola has been sacked, right? The Bournemouth
Not
manager
yeah,
has been
not
sacked.
not yet. I don't think he has been officially sacked, but he's on the cusp of being sacked.
Yeah, Bournemouth manager.
Mm-hmm. So, Brentford, 3 goals. I mean, there's nothing
Brent
to add, really. I mean, they did not play that great to praise, but I think they deserve that win.
I'm sorry, not Brighton. Burnley had an excellent chance to get 1 goal back. Like there was what Arun said, open goal, 4 yards out, missing the goal. That's exactly what happened in that game by Burnley. But it was just shocking. But nevertheless, Burnley looked like a team who want to play like a very specific system-based football, but they don't have the players for it. It's like if we tried to play that Jorge di Possession with Socrates Papastopoulos.
uh, Bournemouth Wolves. I watched a little bit, but I was bored by that game. There was nothing in the game that was exciting for me to watch. And then Bournemouth gets a red card. Uh, I don't know. It
Gary
was.
O'Neill came out and like spoke about how the teams were set up and all that. Like after getting sacked, that was fun. Yeah.
So the third game that I wanted to Aaron to talk about is the Nottingham Forest Luton Town.
Do we really have to talk about that game?
I don't know. You guys let me know because
Luton are going down. Luton are going down. I as much as I wanted Everton to go down, it's going to be the same 3 teams that they came up. And yeah, I mean, like Nottingham Forest are not a great team, but right now, but like of course they are finding a way to get those points, and that's something that the other teams are not able to do, as well as like Bournemouth. So there seems to be more contenders for relegation spots this very early in the season already. It seems like the story is already written, and I don't think there's going to be any change in that. But it's going to be like a lot of teams fighting for those. Not wanting to be in those 3 spots. That's what I would say. So far, like I can already see like 5 teams fighting for those remaining 2 elusive spots. Yeah.
Arvind, Man City versus Brighton. Even though City got a red card, they still came out on top. I mean,
That
the red card is at the end, but still, like I felt like Brighton did not deserve anything out of the game.
Brighton this season are getting found out like pretenders. They went from contenders to being pretenders very fast. I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that they're playing in Europe or the fact that they missed a lot of players. Like they sold a lot of players. Excuse me, but this there's something clearly wrong. They're doing this goalkeeper swap like we plan to do, but I don't know how that is helping them. It is definitely not in the results. They seem to be going through some kind of mid or early season crisis, I should say.
I don't Newcastle Crystal Palace. For
Oh my
me, the
God,
only
Newcastle
thing
are
is,
playing so well. I did
yeah.
not expect them to play this well, but like the thing also is that the prediction at the beginning of the season was the fact that they're playing in Europe for the first time. They don't have the squad depth to do it, but they're taking the game to tougher oppositions like Milan and PSG. They were expected to finish either third or fourth in that group, and I don't think that's going to happen. And that's not derail their season, at least as of now. And though Tonali is going to be banned for 18 months, they have they have the might to actually go and get someone in January to fill that position. So
Yeah, but there's also like it's not just they are racking up points, right? They're scoring all these like they're having these free-flowing games, even though they're not
that's the
like
thing.
free-flowing. They're not a free-flowing team. They're still having like these high-scoring games, like 4 goals, 7 goals,
Yeah,
all
9
those
goals.
things. Yeah, 9 goals. Yeah,
Yeah,
it.
they've scored the most number of goals, and that's why I'm saying like it doesn't that machine doesn't seem to have stopped the way we thought it would, and that's like surprising for me. I'm still it's not that I don't want them to do well, but like I didn't expect them to do this well.
I mean, I don't want them to do well, so I will say that out loud. Arvind, the next game is the United versus Sheffield. Sheffield. Uh, I mean, it was not a, it was a straightforward win. 2-1 win was a straightforward win, but you could still see that United are like, it's not their attack that is clicking. Like even the goals are like from what McTominay and who's the other guy who scored? I think Dalo was the other
Dalo,
one.
Yeah, it was a superb goal. Yeah,
magic goal.
yeah,
Yeah,
superb.
but if you consider the shots and other stuff, right? I think Sheffield kind of matched United, Manchester United in the number of shots and stuff. So I think like it is not like Manchester United had a brilliant game or something. Even a half decent game was not what it was from attacking standpoint.
Your thoughts?
It, it's like United these days when they play, it looks like they are a championship team. They don't look like a Premier League team. Uh, earlier this earlier today, I was recording the game week review for Vada London with Ajay. He
Mhm.
said he said this. I'm actually borrowing his words. And when he said this, it resonated with me so much. They looked like a championship team. Sheffield can't score to save their lives, but Sheffield looked like attacking against United. How can you attack against a team when you have no attack to begin with? But Sheffield did that.
Mhm.
And how United let them, I will never know.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
was
That's
talking
how
to a
horrible
friend
they
of
are.
mine who's a United fan, and he told me yesterday the same. So, like, in the sense that it wasn't a fantastic performance, it wasn't a bad performance either. It was like they are still where they are. Like, this game did not do any good or bad in taking them to the next level or pulling them down a couple of levels. So, like,
Mhm.
United are exactly where they were before the game happened. So, I think that would be like a good assessment of that game.
Arun, I will stick with you for the last but one game, which is Aston Villa versus West Ham. It was for me. I watched the game. And Emery's team.
I didn't see the game,
Emery's
unfortunately.
team looks very, very, very good. We know what they can do, but they are doing what they can do very well.
Yeah, yeah.
4 goals against West
West
Ham
Ham. Yeah.
is a great result.
Yeah, it's definitely a great result. Like Emery, we know him. Like it's against the big teams that he struggles a bit, especially away from home. This game at home for them against the West Ham side was like a piece of cake. I was hoping, like I think I was like predicting a 2-1 win for Villa, but like it became a 4-1. So it wasn't like really surprising for me to see them do
I
well.
think they have a long run of not losing at home.
Yeah, and Watkins is probably in the form of his life. So they're doing, and he signed a new contract. So any team that wants to get him is definitely not going to be able to get him, like at least in January, maybe in the summer, but that's also doubtful. And like I've always seen them, the likes of them, Brighton, West Ham, like teams that are not going to like break into the top, but they're going to be the shit disturbers who would be like the differentials, the deciders, the ones who would sort of decide which team is finishing where, because of the fact that you would think it's going to be an easy game for them, be it home or away, but they will always have that surprise in them to like sort of steal points from you. And I believe Villa are like overperforming that. I don't think they're going to go crashing down. Emery is a good manager, but I don't see them like right now. I think they're fifth.
Mhm.
That's, I feel like 5, 6, 7 is where they'll continue to stay. Like I don't see them shaking the order in any way.
Mm. Arvind, last game, uh, Tottenham,
Oh my
Fulham,
God.
He
2-0.
predicted a Tottenham first loss in this game.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Yeah,
That's why
I
I
did.
brought it to him. And so you predicted a loss, but they are still
Yeah,
going strong, and they, like we were talking about Arsenal, right? And it pains me to say that Tottenham are this, like last season how we were the high flying team. This season Tottenham feels like the high flying team.
let's hope their inexperience catches up, their bottling nature catches up. Uh, it's at this point, I feel sick to say this, but they are playing really well. Like there
Mm.
was a point where Fulham probably had like a free header on a cross from somewhere. This Pape
Yep.
Sarr came in to defend the ball away. He made like a lung busting run from near the halfway line to save that. That's extraordinary. And the way that they're playing, the way Son scored his first goal, I mean, Fulham definitely shot themselves in the foot there.
Yeah,
But
like
his
Camden
presence
Pass.
of mind to create that goal, it was splendid. Second goal, again, they carved Fulham open. Fulham had no clue what happened. Like, I don't know, man. We're living in a world where up is down, left is right.
Let's hope that your hopes of them crashing down come sooner than later. But last question is for both of you: goal of the week and player of the week,
Declan Rice.
and
Goal of
Goal
the
of the
week.
week, Declan Rice. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
player of
Uh,
the week.
Player of the week. Mm, McTominay.
Mm, okay.
No, I'm actually like trying to think. I'm trying to think who played well.
So Arvind, your goal of the week.
my goal of the week, there were a lot of contenders, like Declan Rice's goal, Mudrik's goal, Dalo's goal, uh, Murphy scored like a splendid goal for Newcastle.
Mhm,
Uh, I'm trying to think what I want to give. My Arsenal bias is sticking out very, very clearly.
mhm,
I'll go with Declan Rice too.
mhm. Okay,
My
so
pla my
yeah.
player of the week though is Douglas Luiz. Villa, the way that they're playing is
Mhm,
because the midfield engine that is there currently. He scored 6 straight games. A rare feat, and he controlled the game beautifully. Like the Douglas Lewis that we wanted, I see why.
mhm. Okay, so that would be the end of the week's discussion. One quick preview for the Sevilla game. Not much to talk about. Let's just like, do we see similar team going there?
Yes,
Are
and it's going to be a tough game. Really.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have we may have one or two changes, but I don't think we'll have too many.
mm,
Yeah, and
uh,
I don't think Zinchenko might start. I think Tomiyasu might start this one.
Sergio Ramos had one of is back with Sevilla.
Yeah, but he's like 38 years old. I wouldn't like, worry too
Yeah,
much.
he plays more with his mouth and hands more than his feet at the moment.
So I wouldn't worry too much about him, though he might surprise. I mean, like not everybody is a Thiago Silva, so I don't know. But like given his age and everything, I wouldn't worry too much. I'm more worried about like the confidence that they have with the new manager and the draw against Madrid, and the crowd is crazy. So that's the thing that I would be worried about. This we saw what happened at Lens, so
Mhm,
like the team needs to be at the top of their game because we cannot afford to lose away games in the Champions League. As Wenger always says, 4 wins and 2 draws, and one of the wins has to be away from home. We've already lost at launch, and we cannot lose any game at home. So we need to absolutely win either this one. PSV is also going to be tough away from home, and they've like won 9 out of 9 this season. They've I don't think they've conceded a goal in like the last 6 games or something, or 3 games or 6 games. So this should be like we whatever it is. I think this is a game that we have to absolutely win. Like we cannot go out with a draw, then we'll be like dependent too much on the results of the other
other teams, yeah.
teams. And that's not what we want. And you don't want to finish third in the group either. That's not what we want. So,
So predictions.
2-1 Arsenal.
1-2-0 Arsenal.
Two
Oh,
zero
three
Arsenal.
zero, 3-0 Arsenal.
No, no, I won't be that.
Always the eternal
When we're
optimist.
struggling to score goals, I wouldn't like predict three away from home in an atmosphere that like is going to probably make our players shit the
But
pants.
that's why you are not Arvind. That's why
Yeah,
he is the.
I know.
But yeah, I think that's a short preview for the game. And thank you guys. Thank you for joining in. We will meet after for the preview of the next game.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Thank
Bye.
you.